Coming in at 5, poison. In the southeast of Romania in Constanța County there lies a barren plain. The field is unremarkable, but it's what lies below that will spark interest. Below it lies a cave that remained isolated for 5.5 million years. Yeah, this is because the cave has a poisonous atmosphere with a complete absence of light. However, it is still crawling with life, with unique spiders, scorpions, woodlice and centipedes calling it home. Now in 1986, workers in communist Romania were testing the ground to see if it was suitable for a power plant when they stumbled across the cave, specifically called the Mammoth Cave. The first to make the descent down was Romanian scientist Cristian Lascu. However, since then the cave has remained sealed by authorities and fewer than 100 people have been allowed inside of it. Now this is partially due to the descent down being extremely hazardous, requiring you to enter via a rope and then lowered down 20 meters through a narrow shaft dug into the ground. Inside the cave the atmosphere is heavy with harmful gases, carbon dioxide, as well as the hydrogen sulfide from the water. More still, the air is low in oxygen and contains just 10% rather than the usual 20. Due to this, visitors can only stay down there for 5 to 6 hours before kidney failure begins. On top of this, it is completely dark, thus making exploring the cave incredibly dangerous, especially considering you are far from the surface. The entire experience is said to be terrifying, and that's even if you don't have a problem with creepy crawlies. Coming in at 4, giant pit. Ellison Cave is located in Walker County on Pigeon Mountain in the Appalachian Plateaus of northwest Georgia and is the 12th deepest cave in the United States. But what makes this cave unique is its unobstructed pit, also named Fantastic Pit, which is 586 feet long, or almost as tall as Seattle's Space Needle and about twice the height of the Statue of Liberty. Yeah, let that sink in. Now on the opposite side of the Fantastic Pit is the Incredible Pit, with an unobstructed depth of 440 feet. Smoky 1, 500 feet, Smoky 2, 262 feet, and the warm-up pit, 125 feet. The result is a dark labyrinthian system with 7 different routes to the cave floor. Now in order to get to the largest pit, Fantastic, cavers must first descend the warm-up pit, and once at the top of Fantastic there is a cramped space called the attics, and from there cavers descend into the gigantic pit. This cave system is not for the faint-hearted, and it's recommended that you have extensive knowledge and experience of single rope technique climbing in wet conditions with heavy ropes. Now of course there have been fatalities in Ellison's Cave. Since 2009 there have been 3, all the result of cavers becoming entangled and stuck on their ropes, after which they died from hypothermia.
Number 2 on this list is the Bell Witch Cave. I think you guys can guess where we're going with this evil cavern. Ranker writes, according to the legend of the Bell Witch, in 1804, a farmer named John Bell moved his wife and kids to a farm along the Red River in northern Robertson County. The property also included a cave which became known as the Bell Witch Cave, believed to be haunted by the spirit of a witch named Kate Batts, who felt that she had been cheated by the Bells in the land purchase. Strange animal sightings began in the summer of 1817. Late at night, the family would hear strange noises such as knocking on the door and all along the walls outside the house. At one point, the noises made their way inside the home and also included gnawing, choking, and dragging sounds. Vicious incidents by an unseen force plagued Betsy, the youngest Bell daughter, who suffered scratches, hair pulling, and physical beatings. John himself was prone to choking fits and illnesses until he finally passed in 1820. Once John passed and Betsy called off her engagement, the witch apparently felt her vengeful work was done and returned home to the cave for years. She returned to the home in 1828, allegedly speaking to John Bell Jr. and promising to return 107 years later. Considering all the paranormal activity locals reported near the Witch Cave and even throughout the town in the interim, many believe that she never left. Locals think that heading into this cave will always run the risk of getting cursed by the evil witch in some capacity. It doesn't happen to everybody who visits, but some people who have gone in have reported horrible luck afterwards. This legend has all the makings of a great Scooby-Doo novel, honestly. Haunted cave by an ancient witch, horrible luck, and potential tragedy to those who go inside. Scooby-Doo legend or not though, I still want absolutely no part of it. And finally, number 1 on this list is the Cave of Sibyl. The Cave of Sibyl is part of an ancient legend dating back all the way to the ancient Greeks. It's located by Naples, but back in the day it was close to a Greek town called Cumae. These caves have hundreds of entrances to them and are extremely intricate. They would honestly be super cool to explore if you weren't risking life and limb in the process. The year is 19 BC, and famous writer Virgil put in his book The Aeneid, "The gates of hell are open night and day, smooth the descent and easy is the way, but to return and view the cheerful skies, in this the task and mighty labor lies." The gates of hell. That's what he writes in this story, and that's what these caves are thought to be. Literally where somebody can go into these caves and never come out because they've accidentally stumbled into hell. And that sort of thing happened many times back in the day. People would wander into these caverns looking to explore and bam, gone forever because now they're chilling with the devil in the underworld. Obviously, because of this, there is so much evil overflowing out of this place. Any spot that has the actual doors of hell is not the type of place that I want to be around. Who knows how many demons or ghouls could be roaming around these rocky walls? Unless you're trying to meet up with some demons, I'd say stay away from this cave at all costs.
In at 3, alien skulls. In perhaps one of the weirdest stories to emerge out of Russia, sometime in 2017, a villager claimed to have found a Nazi briefcase full of alien skulls. Yeah. Alien skulls. The chest was allegedly found in a cave in a village that I can't pronounce and bear the insignia of the Anunnaki, the Nazi archaeology project founded in 1935, which focused on finding evidence that the Aryan race had once ruled the entire globe. However, it soon branched into occultism, paranormal research, pseudoscience, and the study of UFOs. Russian historian Igor Ogory examined the skulls but could not say what species they came from or why the Nazis had them. According to the records, the jawbones from the skulls were missing, and they appeared somewhat similar to aliens. Now, deformed skulls have been found in Crimean tombs all over Russia, but those have been previously determined to have been artificially lengthened as a part of a Samaritan fighting culture over 2,000 years ago. Now, of course, the strange skulls found in the suitcase has led to speculation the Nazis could have made contact with aliens, or even summoned demons in the remote areas. Now, others have speculated that the discoveries may be part of some elaborate hoax, with suggestions that the facial features were hollowed out of large animals' pelvic bones. However, what you believe is up to you. There are some out there that truly believe the Nazis made contact with our friends from above. Not me though. Chris does. In at 2, screaming mummies. In 1997, Peru's largest undisturbed collection of preserved bodies were discovered south of the walled city of Quilap in the Laguna de los Candores area in a cave. Now, the view was unbelievable, high above the shadows of the highlands in the northwestern Andes, over the dense Amazon jungle. In a craggy cave that emerges out of a lagoon, in the darkness of each mausoleum lies a mummy in a seated position, some even screaming, as though each one of them is waiting for something to come or someone to find them. Now, the lagoon is located on a remote strip of land in northern Peru and is one of the country's most important Inca sites. Since their discovery, most of the preserved corpses have been relocated to a nearby museum. However, thousands still wait silently in 17 other mausoleums hidden in the jungle mountains. You would assume these mausoleums have become quite the tourist attraction, however, that is not the case. Only 150 hikers trek this spot each year, but it's likely that more tourists will come with the construction of Peru's first cable car to the nearby archaeological site. And finally, coming in at number 1, the Bell Witch Cave. The Bell Witch Cave is located in Adams, Tennessee, and houses one of the state's most infamous legends. John Bell, a farmer from North Carolina, along with his wife and children, settled in Robertson County, Tennessee in 1804. However, in the late summer of 1817, something would happen that would change their lives forever. Some of the Bell family members began seeing strange looking animals around the property, and late at night they started hearing knocking sounds on the doors and outer walls of their home. The family was of course terrified but kept the problem to themselves for over a year. However, when things became too bad, John finally confided in his neighbor, James Johnson. John invited Mr. and Mrs. Johnson to spend the night in hopes that they would experience the strange goings on as well. After several nights of witnessing the strange occurrences, the Johnsons suggested that more people be informed. A committee was formed and an investigation began. People began to arrive from miles around to hear and witness these strange occurrences at the Bell home. And before long, the unseen force had gained enough strength that it now had a voice. When asked who or what it was, it gave different identities. Classic demon business. One time it stated that it was the witch of a neighbor woman named Kate Batts. Now as time passed, it seemed that Kate had two reasons for visiting the Bell property. The main being to kill John Bell. The second was to stop John's youngest daughter Betsy from marrying a neighbor named Joshua Gardner. On December 20th, 1820, Kate finally accomplished one of her missions. John Bell died. It was believed that he was poisoned by Kate, and Kate indeed took full credit for his death. Then in March 1821, Betsy broke off her engagement with Joshua Gardner. Now you may be wondering how this in any way relates to a cave, right? Well, it is now rumoured that following Kate's missions, her spirit moved to the nearby cave, and that is where she now resides. There are even cave tours that you can take in order to experience Kate herself.
Number 3 on this list is the Mammoth Cave. There are no ghosts of mammoths in here, so you don't need to worry about that. The name is actually in reference to the incredible size of this cave. Ranker writes, horror author H.P. Lovecraft's story The Beast in the Cave was inspired by this famously creepy Kentucky cave system. Mammoth Cave is as massive as its namesake implies. In fact, it may well be the largest haunted cave in the United States with about 400 miles of explored area. Much of the cave's expanse remains unseen, however, evidence suggests prehistoric people began mining the cave as far back as 4,000 years ago and eventually used it to bury their dead. This went on for about 2,000 years before they abruptly abandoned the cave. Whatever caused them to flee remains unknown, but it might have something to do with the plethora of ghost sightings that have occurred over subsequent years. After the War of 1812, the caves were sold off to a mine salt pepper and enslaved people were sent to work and die in the caves. Apparitions of deceased enslaved people are often reported. In 1939, a cave section was converted into a makeshift tuberculosis village by a doctor who believed the purity of the cave's air would fight infection and purify patients' lungs. Many perished inside Mammoth Cave and are believed to still haunt it to this very day. Tons of you guys are fans of Lovecraft's work, and anything that inspired a dude as scary as that has gotta be pretty terrifying to begin with. This cave's history is just too extensive to not be haunted. So many people have died here just through labor and accidents, and their ghosts are still lingering here. Also, from what I've read, the overall size of this place is just so intimidating as well. You can actually take tours of this cave if you like, which are run by the National Park Service, but there's definitely some evil lurking down here, and after everything that's gone down, I kind of recommend staying on the surface for this one. Number 2 on this list is the Cave Hotel. Yeah, you heard that right, folks. A hotel that is in a cave. An idea that sounds pretty interesting to a lot of people who may be adventurous, but I can promise you it isn't as cool in practice. That's simply because of the haunting, though. The hotel itself is pretty sweet and would make for quite the experience if, of course, it didn't happen to be deeply haunted. Ranker writes, it's no secret that the Grand Canyon's nooks and crannies have long been subject to haunting rumors. The fact that somebody created a cave hotel in such a place is equal parts awesome and terrifying. While there's evidence these caverns may have been discovered by members of the Hulepe tribe a decade earlier, the official discovery is credited to Walter Peck in 1927. Obviously, Peck wasn't the first to stumble upon the cave system, as he found the remains of 2 brothers who fell ill to the flu. Both brothers and even Peck himself are among the ghostly apparitions visitors claim to see at the Cave Hotel. Another source of paranormal activity in the Cavern Hotel is former manager Gary Ringsby, who took his life in what's known as the bunkhouse back in the 1970s. Those brave enough to sleep in the hotel suites have reported the distant sound of Native American chants and shadowy figures dancing along the rocks. Other claims include whispering sounds, the elevator door opening and closing without cause, and the image of a person dangling from the top of the cavern. We have a pair of sick brothers, we got a former hotel manager, and we have Native American ghosts. What isn't this hotel haunted with? Clearly these caves are bad news. Like, just think about how many people have perished here. And yes, I understand, staying in a room literally in the Grand Canyon, like, that sounds pretty freaking awesome, but not if it means potentially risking your soul or even your life in the process. There are just way too many instances of tragedies at this spot to be paying it a visit anytime soon. People who have stayed here before believe something evil could be lurking down there, and that the first people who came here have awoken it. Based on everything that's gone down and how haunted it is now, I tend to agree with them. And number 1 on this list is Chiselhurst Caves. Just that name alone, Chiselhurst Caves, is enough to give someone, well, chills. The cave lives up to its name and isn't the type of cavern I recommend trekking through. Ranker says the Chiselhurst Caves in the United Kingdom are human-made mines that may very well be home to many spirits. The first record of this cave system dates back to 1250, and the 22-mile network is thought to be the work of generations of Druids, Romans, and Saxons. Tour guides highlight the supposed Druid altars and the chilling tales surrounding the caves involving both ritual sacrifice and cold-blooded slayings. The sounds of screams, murmurs, children giggling, and footsteps can be heard echoing from deep within the labyrinth. It's not just ancient ghosts either. During the Blitz in World War II, over 5,000 Londoners took refuge in the caves at night. Naturally, modern locals report that those who lost their lives in the caves still haunt the tunnels. Ritual sacrifices and cold-blooded slayings? Yeah, that's a big no from this guy. In part 1, we talked about another English man-made cave called the Hellfire Caves, and it seems like they modeled that cave after this one. A deep and dark space where these people can perform horrible and gruesome procedures. Similarly to the Hellfire Caves, no one has any idea how many lives were lost down here. But considering these caves have been around since the 1200s, I'd place a wager that the answer is a lot.
In at 5, Probs. Uploaded to YouTube by Probs, they describe how they discovered the entrance to an underground bunker with a group of friends, with it perhaps being the worst decision they ever made. In the video we see the group enter a small opening in the ground in a bleak and desolate area. Once inside we can see a clear foundation littered with bricks before leading into a winding hallway. However, it wasn't the underground bunker that was the most terrifying part of this experience. It was the fact that during their exploration the group began to hear voices coming from above them. Some of the group began to hide, with Probs turning off his flashlight in fear that someone was coming down to get them. The bunker certainly adds to the creepy element, and if you haven't checked out the full video you should do that right after this. In at 4, Secret Bunker. When 2 friends were out hiking in the woods of northern Germany, an area formerly known as German Democratic Republic, they stumbled across strange pipes protruding from the ground. After discovering the pipes in the field they located the entrance that wasn't too hard to find. The entrance was about 100 meters or so from the pipes and was surrounded by coniferous trees and was covered with a wood lid, which the pair removed with a crowbar. What they found were endless hospital-like hallways with acoustics that the pair described as haunting. The hallways occurred several times before they stumbled across a hole in the wall that appeared to be punched with a hammer. However, more terrifying still, down one hallway they found graffiti that read, "Help." Then out of nowhere they found a big yellow door that they were expecting would lead to a dead end or an exit. The doors were as heavy as bank vaults, with them wondering how any person would be able to open them. Continuing down the tunnels they found graffiti that left them very concerned. Clearly read, "Hello Satan, I love you." Check out the full article because it is absolutely terrifying. In at 3, Hidden Underground Bunker. Back in May of 2017, one explorer discovered a safe house built under a factory. Inside of the factory, the man passed through a blacked out corridor and through 2 giant metal doors before ending up inside of a room with electric light. It was found to be stocked with old newspaper clippings, photographs, as well as boots. It also led into several other rooms, also containing information posted all over the walls. Not only that, but the explorer discovered medicine, hard hats, and even gas masks, with boxes appearing to date back to World War II, with the bunker seemingly built to prepare for a devastating attack. The explorer stated, I quote, "What's really weird about this is that there doesn't seem to be any food in this bunker, not even cans of food." One viewer even commented, "Who creates a huge bunker and stocks it with medical supplies and clothing but doesn't put any food in it?" My feelings exactly. If you haven't yet, you should check out the full video. It's worth a watch.
Number 5 in this list is the Hellfire Caves. The Hellfire Caves are definitely some of the most haunted in history. They didn't start out haunted though, it was actually the activities of a specific club that brought the paranormal to this place. Ranker writes, also known as the West Wycombe Caves, England's Hellfire Caves form a network of chalk and flint caverns extending a quarter of a mile underground. The caves were excavated by Francis Dashwood in the mid-1700s. Dashwood was also the co-founder of of the Hellfire Club, a secret society said to have held meetings in the caves. Members were all politically and socially influential throughout the 18th century. The group's reputation is steeped in tales of dark rituals, debauchery, and devil worship. While the Hellfire Club dissolved by 1766, it's believed that the ghosts of its members still linger. The caves began operating as a tourist attraction back in 1951, and visitors routinely report strange echoes and mysterious apparitions that appear and disappear in front of them. The reported activity is so frequent that Travel Channel's Ghost Adventures and Sci-Fi Channel's Ghost Hunters have conducted their own paranormal investigations of the caves. So any group that needs to literally dig 260 meters underground to meet up is probably up to no good. And that's exactly what happened here with the Hellfire Club. This honestly seems like something out of a video game, but it was actually real. This group performed serious dark magic, the kind that has a lasting effect on the space it was performed in. No one knows the exact number, but people are convinced that animal and human sacrifices were involved with the ongoings of this club. These sacrifices would have been done in the inner temple, which was actually right below a church 300 feet down. This was meant to signify hell and was supposed to get these people closer to the underworld and the devil. Whether they actually contacted the devil or not is unknown, but this place is deeply haunted. Demons have been reported in these caves, and also many sightings of the ghosts of these members as well. This cave was made for evil and should honestly be boarded up, in my opinion. Number 4 on this list is the Moaning Cave. The Moaning Cave is located in California and is definitely a unique one on this list. If you go inside, you will hear a sound that is eerily reminiscent to somebody moaning. Not the most pleasant sound in the world if you ask me, but this cave is constantly making it. This sound is made by how the air flows through the cave, and it's what has given the cave its name, the Moaning Cave. The sound, believe it or not though, isn't the evil part about this cavern, which actually just makes it more scary. There are multiple legends associated with this cavern. The first one is of these tiny little creatures called Tommyknockers. These are small little leprechaun dudes who are quite mischievous. This mischievousness can manifest itself in very dangerous ways though, because it's said that these tiny little buggers will literally cause cave-ins and kill people. It's also believed that these creatures originated from the dead souls of those past. If these killer leprechauns weren't enough, then there's also supposedly the ghosts of some very angry gold miners who died here, and a ghost of a saber-toothed tiger named Chip. This tiger is hungry, and you are sadly going to be on the menu.
Number 2, Mammoth Cave. Coming up next is going to be the Mammoth Cave, located up in Kentucky. Mammoth Cave carries a dubious qualifier as it's thought to be the largest haunted cave in America. Now, this particular quote, I'm not sure if it's quantifiably the most haunted cave in America. I don't know what the unit of measurement for haunting is, but the data says it's the largest haunted cave. So per square inch, there's more ghosts than any other cave in America. Some 4,000 years ago, people mined deep inside the cave, and the cave would later be sold off to mine saltpeter. And if you know anything about saltpeter, and I bet you do, oh, then you know what a hot commodity that sweet saltpeter is come wartime. Oh, come wartime, after the War of 1812, saltpeter was the toy all the kids wanted under their stocking. And so the owners of the Mammoth Cave started draining it for all it had and hired slaves to work it. The owner of the cave, one Dr. Krogan, started cooking up bizarre schemes like turning the cave into a hospital, because nothing sounds more sanitary than surgery in a dark, musty cave where bats live. Dr. Krogan believed the cave would be the miracle cure for tuberculosis, and so he built several little patient huts. The consumptive colony was a complete failure. 2 of the patients died almost immediately, with the other 15 passing away and their condition worsening over time, with the doctor himself passing away in 1849. Now, because of this, locals believe the doctor and the ghosts of his patients are still trapped inside the cave. Rangers claim to have been shoved by unseen forces, or have been grabbed and touched in the darkness by people who can't be found. One particularly bold ranger claims that once, while on a tour near a formation called Sacrifice Rock, he saw an apparition of a man wearing a long-sleeved shirt, a slouch hat, looking in some old-time clothes, dressed like how an old slave trader would have. 3 different people claim that they saw the spirit, but the rangers assert that it might have just been a series of shadows. Or is that just a story to keep paranormal investigators away? Because it does sound pretty suspicious. Sounds like there's a mammoth of a story inside Mammoth Cave if you know where to look for it. At number 1, Hellhole Cave. Coming in at number 1 is going to be Hellhole Cave. Well, I mean, just listen to it. How could we not include this one? When I started researching a list of mysterious caves this morning and I discovered that there exists a cave named Hellhole Cave, I realized it would be downright improper if I included anything else at that number 1 spot. Hellhole, sometimes known as IXL Cave, is a cave in Santa Cruz's Wilder Ranch State Park. Well known for its claustrophobic tunnels and death-defying drops to abyssal oblivion, which force one to crawl on your belly. Have you ever crawled on your belly in a cave? Like a snake? That sounds slimy and horrific. Now, the main attraction of the Hellhole Cave is the equally terrifying named Hall of Faces. You guys gotta be kidding me with this. The Hellhole Cave, the Hall of the Faces, this sounds like a place you go to fight the Hand of the King for the primordial crystal. But instead, the Hall of Faces is an area where spelunkers leave clay statues for others to find. Why is it called the Hall of Faces? Well, mostly because the clay statues being left behind are terrifying faces and snarling demon visages. It's quite the sight to greet you after a 90-foot descent, which is known as the Pit. Every single part of this cave is scary from top to bottom. Whoever named this place did not mince words. It's a hellhole. It's 47 degrees Fahrenheit and is the perfect home for approximately 20,000 squeaking, fluttering bats, Bruce Wayne's favorite. It's the winter home for half the world's population of big-eared bats. Sure, they may not be predatory or dangerous animals, and honestly they are kinda cute, but bats are also leathery little monsters with fangs and look like little demons, so being scared of 20,000 of them fluttering around in the dark is something I completely understand. So between sweltering temperatures, breakneck drops, terrifying clay faces, and more bats than anyone could conceivably see in one lifetime, it seems like the name is more than fitting, and that's one hellhole I'll choose to avoid.
In at 2, water treatment plant. A decommissioned underground water treatment plant came to light in 2018 after it was put up for sale for just £28,000 British pounds. The subterranean property is in the middle of Dartmoor in Devon and used to belong to the South West Water. Now, though the bunker is cheap, it's just downright terrifying to look at. With winding hallways and crumbling rooms, the place is over 100 feet long and 20 feet wide, and was formerly a facility used to extract gas from water. Why anyone would want to buy the water treatment plant is beyond me, with it looking more like the set of a horror movie than an ideal living area. The owner has explicitly stated that the plant shouldn't be used residentially, but would make for a great art studio. I still don't think you should buy it. And lastly, in at number 1, World War II bunker. So this bunker was discovered by an explorer named Mark Askand in France that was believed to have been used by Hitler. The urban explorer makes it his mission to capture places before they're gone for good, to ensure their stories and histories aren't lost. And back in 2017 he caught wind of an old Nazi bunker called the Wolfie Canyon, hidden away in the forest. He shared a handful of pictures on Facebook, and oh boy, this place is creepy. More terrifying still, as he was exploring the area of rural France, he had to be extra careful as it was hunting season, even posting a picture of a sign that read, "Caution, trap zone." It was in this area that he found an opening that looked like a sewage pipe, or an access tunnel that led down into the Nazi lair. Once inside, he discovered just how extensive and complex the secret lair truly was, with the secret bunker having a footprint of over 6 miles of tunnels, rooms and storage areas, making it the perfect place to launch an attack, if it ever came to it.
Number 5. Son Doong Cave, Vietnam. Coming up first today, we are going to be talking about the Son Doong Cave up in Vietnam. Now, this isn't just any old cave. This is one of the biggest caves in the world. It's a gargantuan underworld, an almost hidden world of wonder. Over 5 kilometers long, with sections that reach up to 200 meters tall and 150 meters wide, meaning there's enough space that theoretically you could fly a jet through the cave. Not that you would, because you probably wouldn't get very far, and I don't know what the benefits would be, but you have the possibility to do so if you wish. It must certainly be a feeling, a cave so big. The cave is almost its own ecosystem, separate from the rest of the world, with its own jungle and a localized weather system due to the misty clouds that cover it up above. Getting there isn't easy either. To get into the cave, explorers would need to cross a 10-kilometer trail from Trung Son Highway. The cave also becomes inaccessible when it gets rainy, as the rising water levels will prevent entrance or exit, so do be mindful of that. Echoes of your footsteps reverberating through the colossal chambers as if awakening spirits that lurk in the shadows. Stalactites hanging like fangs all over the roof of the cave, and stalagmites littering the floor, making it seem like you're in the mouth of a giant creature. The cave is pitch dark, with the cave only being illuminated by streams of sunlight that pierce through the cracks in the ceiling, giving way to eerie imagination as you see the shadows upon the rock formations. As you get deeper, a sense of claustrophobia takes hold. Narrow passages squeeze an unwary traveler, threatening to trap them in a labyrinth from which escape seems almost impossible. Is that enough of a recommendation for you to go check out that cave? I don't know, definitely sounds like a trip I'd be willing to take. But if you want to take a journey without leaving your chair, you're already in the perfect place to be, as Top 5 Scary has something scary from all across the world. If it freaks you out, we've got a video or two on it, I guarantee it. So hit subscribe, make sure you ring that little bell as well so you don't miss a single video that we put out, but do that at the end of this video because I got 4 more scary caves to tell you all about first, okay? Number 4, Mount Erebus's Ice Caves. Coming up next in at the number 4 spot today, we are going to be taking a trip all the way out to the frozen wilderness of Antarctica as we venture towards Mount Erebus's Ice Cave. This cave is a frozen maze that lies within the heart of a volcano, and you might be scratching your head there thinking, what, an icy volcano? What? Don't worry, I'm confused too. Now, we don't have a scientist on hand to explain how that works, so you're just gonna have to trust me that it does, okay? The ice and the fire, it shouldn't work, but it does. They're colliding here. Mount Erebus is the most active volcano in Antarctica, featuring a pond of lava that comes in at 1700 degrees Fahrenheit. But in the cave, it's absolutely freezing, intensively so. In this fusion of hot and cold temperatures, there are stunning ice caves carved out around the snow-colored volcano. Now, if you were like a James Bond bad guy or any other kind of supervillain, what have you, I have to say this would be an amazing place to have your secret lair, build an evil little cave here. Now, it goes without saying this cave is not a welcoming place. It's a treacherous maze where one wrong turn or slip leads to an early icy grave. Jagged crevices and hidden chasms lie waiting for you to step the wrong way and pull you into a frigid embrace forever. With all that in mind, is it surprising that it's said to be haunted? Many who have entered the cave claim that they feel something otherworldly, although this could just be freezing temperatures getting to their brain. Some say they feel like they are touched by invisible forces while exploring the frigid halls. Now, of course, besides the supernatural, there are some researchers who suspect that there could be unknown species deep within the cave that haven't been discovered yet. And who's to say what that could be? Maybe that's where the Yeti's been hiding all these years, or heck, maybe that's where the aliens have been. We've been looking up in the stars this entire time when really they've just been caves and volcanoes in Antarctica. Who is to say? Number 3, the Bell Witch Cave. Coming up in the number 3 spot today is going to be the infamous Bell Witch Cave. We've talked a lot about the Bell Witch before on the channel, and don't be too surprised if we talk about her again. The Bell Witch Cave lies in the heart of Adams, Tennessee, home to a malevolent spirit with a spine-chilling reputation. Now, if we got all the way into the Bell Witch story, we'd be talking about that for the rest of the video. We've definitely talked about the Bell Witch before, so check some of that out. But the slightly short version is that the Bell Witch was an evil spirit who tormented a local family of farmers, the Bells, which is where she gets the name. They settled near this cave unaware of the horrors that were preying upon them. She tormented them with all manner of poltergeist-like behavior. John Bell, the father of the family, found a strange animal on the farmstead, a mutant hybrid that resembled a grotesque dog and a rabbit. The Bell children would complain to their father that they would hear strange sounds that sounded like vermin gnawing at things in their bedrooms, and they would wake up covered in red scratches all over their bodies. At all hours of the day, the family would hear faint whispering and singing that sounded like an old woman singing church hymns. For 3 long years, the Bell family were attacked by the witch until 1820, when John Bell grew extremely ill and descended in health and passing. At his funeral, the mourners complained they could all hear the laughing of an old woman mocking and singing the late John Bell. So locals say that the Bell Witch's spirit still resides away in this cave. Visitors claim to have felt icy fingers brush against their skin, heard ghostly laughter, and witnessed shadowy figures lurking in the shadows. Well, witnessed shadowy figures lurking in the shadows, duh, that's redundant. Where else would shadowy creatures reside? The light?
Number 5 in this list is the Wabasha Street Caves. The story behind these caves is honestly super interesting. Truly sounds like something right out of a movie. These caves are located in St. Paul, Minnesota and are along the Mississippi River. They were man-made and aren't too deep underground. They were initially used as a mine for silica, however their purpose changed as the years went on. After the mining stopped, they actually got converted into a speakeasy during the Prohibition. What better place to hide away and drink than underground? Alcohol was run through this cave and it was a hotspot for illegal activity. So you could make the argument that we actually brought the evil to this cave by doing that. Either way, it gets a lot worse. In the 1930s, as this place was still being run by the Mafia, 3 gangsters were gunned down here in cold blood. It's believed that it was a hit from a rival group. That rival group probably didn't know that this hit would haunt this place forever. Those 3 gangsters who were killed have never truly left this place. Their ghosts are still seen all the time. These are not friendly ghosts either, folks. These are high-ranking Mafia bosses who are pissed off that they got killed. They don't like being disturbed at all and make it very known. It's believed that they are confined to this cave until a descendant from their murderer comes into the cave so they can finally exact their revenge and find peace. You already don't want to be visiting this cave because of these guys, but I can't even imagine how bad things would actually be if you were unlucky enough to be that one descendant that they take revenge on. Number 4 on this list is Robber's Cave. Now I'll be honest guys, I don't really know why this cave is called Robber's Cave because there's no history of robbers or theft in this spot. What there is history of is some ancient Native American rituals. Ranker says Robber's Cave of Lincoln, Nebraska was once known as Pauk Bluff and served as a sacred meeting spot for the Pawnee Native Americans. The cave system beneath the bluff was where the Pawnee taught many traditional practices such as healing, animal powers, and the medicinal and magical value of plants and roots. Nowadays, locals claim to hear the sound of beating drums and chanting as if these rituals are still being performed by ghosts. There have also been reports of screams and moans emanating from the caves. The elaborate cave system was sealed for years, but now can be toured by the public. So here's the thing guys, it doesn't actually sound like the people who used to reside here were performing any evil rituals at all. They were kind of just here doing their thing. So why is it that their spirits are locked into this cave? Well, locals believe that there was always something inherently evil about this cavern and there always will be. That for whatever reason, the evil in this place has latched onto the spirits of those in the past and won't let them find peace. If this is the case, then it seems like just bad luck of the draw to happen to pick this cave. The people previously had no warning and didn't know, but I'm telling you all right now, this is not the cave you want to spend time in. Number 3 on this list is Speedwell Cavern. Speedwell Cavern is located in England in a very pretty area called Wynot's Pass. This is beautiful and like a ton of other places that we talk about on this channel, would be super awesome if it wasn't deeply haunted. Well, the pass itself is kind of haunted, but the cave definitely gets the worst of it. It's all because of what happened several hundred years ago in 1758. What should have been one of the best years of Alan and Clara's life, 2 lovers who were going to get married, turned into the last year of their life. The pair were deeply in love, but their families did not approve of each other's selection. So Alan and Clara took it into their own hands and embarked on a journey to get married in secret. Their destination was Peak First Chapel. On the night before their arrival, they stayed at this inn called Castleton Inn. On that evening, they were parading around in their fanciest clothes and enjoying each other's company as this was the final day before they got married. Well, this turned out to be a poor idea because a group of drunken miners spotted the pair. Based on the outfits that they were wearing, the miners thought that they were extremely rich and would make for an easy couple to rob. The next day, as the pair were on their final leg of the journey, the miners attacked the couple at Wynot's Pass. These miners were brutal about their robbery and didn't leave Alan or Clara alive. They killed them and took their bodies into a cave in Wynot's Pass to hide them. Speedwell Cave. Well, those 2 bodies lay there decaying for over a decade before anyone found them, and that was enough time for the 2 spirits to get pretty pissed off. Now this cave is deeply haunted with these two ghosts who were robbed of spending their lives together and are taking their anger out on people who pass by. This cave is super out of the way, so there really is no reason to go unless you wanted to go see them, but that's something that locals really don't recommend doing.